In the ancient land of Malka, the village of Bhavani was surrounded by hills and boundless forests, nestled beside a river that had provided life for centuries. The people of Bhavani lived humbly, honoring the gods with songs and offerings, knowing that their simple lives were enriched by the beauty and bounty of the land. But all changed in a single year, as though the gods had turned their gaze away. It began with the river. In early summer, its crystal clear waters turned muddy and slow, eventually reducing to a mere trickle. The people of Bhavani thought it was a temporary trial, a drought that would pass, but weeks turned into months. Then came a sickness, striking both young and old, spreading like wildfire through the weakened village. In desperation, they prayed to the gods, but their calls echoed unanswered. Farmers watched their crops die, mothers held their feverish children, and the once happy village grew desolate. In the heart of Bhavani lived Kavi, a gentle farmer known more for his humility than any great skill. Kavi spent his days quietly tending his land, working alongside his wife, Leela, who was a healer of sorts, skilled with herbs, and known for her compassionate heart. Her beauty was matched only by her wisdom, and to Kavi, she was the very essence of grace. Though they lived modestly, Kavi and Leela had a love that others admired, their bond unbreakable. One evening, as Kavi walked along the dry riverbed, he fell to his knees, hands clasped, begging the gods to send rain to relieve his people's suffering. But the wind only rustled dry leaves around him. As he opened his eyes, a strange figure appeared, a sage wrapped in dark, flowing robes, his face shadowed but his eyes bright and piercing. Kavi of Bhavani, the sage intoned, his voice resonating like distant thunder. There is but one way to save your people. You must journey to the Valley of the Silent Stones and retrieve the Pranav jewel from the Shrine of the Forgotten. This jewel holds the life of this land, but be warned, it is fiercely guarded. Many have attempted to claim it, and all have perished. Kavi's heart raced. He was no warrior, no hero. Why would the gods choose me? He asked, trembling. I am only a farmer. The sage's gaze softened. The gods seek not the mightiest, but the purest of heart. And you're stronger than you know, Kavi. Your love, your devotion to your people, these will be your weapons. The sage disappeared, leaving Kavi alone under the pale moonlight, filled with fear yet touched by a strange resolve. When Kavi told Leela of his mission, she did not hesitate. She knew he had to go, but the thought of him facing such perils weighed heavily on her. She crafted a small amulet, a rough piece of clay wrapped in a leather cord infused with sacred herbs and her whispered prayers. This will guard you from harm, she told him, placing it around his neck. And when you feel lost, remember that my love is with you. At dawn, Kavi set out on his journey. The path to the Valley of the Silent Stones was perilous and unforgiving, stretching through dense forests and over jagged cliffs. Days turned into nights, and his strength began to wane. Each night, he would hold Leela's amulet close, her prayers giving him the courage to continue. Yet even her blessings could not prepare him for the terror that lay ahead. On the 10th day, as he approached the valley, he was ambushed by a band of merciless bandits who roamed the forests. They saw his humble attire and thought him an easy target. Kavi fought with desperation, managing to escape but not without wounds. His body was bruised, his strength sapped, yet he pushed forward. But fear began to creep into his mind. If such men could nearly kill him, what hope did he have against the mystical guardians of the Pranav jewel? Finally, he reached the Valley of the Silent Stones, a desolate expanse filled with statues of warriors, their faces twisted in agony, frozen in place for eternity. Kavi's heart thundered. He remembered the sage's words, only one with pure intent may pass. Gathering his courage, he approached the shrine's entrance, a massive stone doorway marked with ancient symbols. It felt as though unseen eyes watched his every move. As Kavi entered, a chill settled over him, and from the shadows emerged the Varniks, ghostly beings with pale, luminous eyes, hovering above the ground like phantoms. Their leader, a towering figure clad in dark spectral armor, blocked his path. "Why do you come, mortal?" the leader asked, his voice a hollow echo. Kavi swallowed his fear. I come not for myself, but for my people. The river has dried, the land is dying, and the Pranav jewel is our last hope. The Varnik leader observed him silently before speaking. Only one who is free from selfish desire may retrieve the Pranav jewel. Many have come, claiming noble intent, only to be turned to stone when their hearts wavered. Do you believe you can face your own doubts? Kavi's voice faltered, but he nodded. I have no choice. I cannot return without the jewel. The Varniks parted, granting him passage but watching him intently, as if daring him to stumble. Inside the shrine, a flickering light beckoned, leading him down a narrow path. At the end lay the Pranav jewel, pulsating with an otherworldly light, like a heart beating within stone. But as he approached, the air thickened, a crushing force bearing down on him, pressing doubts into his mind. Visions flooded his thoughts, visions of his village succumbing to despair, of Leela weeping alone, convinced he had abandoned her. His heart quaked. Was he truly strong enough to bear the burden of saving them all? Was he willing to die here, in this cold, silent place? Then, as if an answer, the amulet on his neck warmed against his skin, and he remembered Leela's faith in him. She had believed in his strength when he had not. Her love filled his heart, drowning out his fears. With a cry, he lunged forward, grasping the Pranav jewel, bracing for whatever fate awaited. The jewel's light flared, and Kavi felt a searing heat fill his body. The shrine walls trembled, cracks spidering across them. As the ceiling began to crumble, Kavi staggered out, clutching the jewel close. The Varniks observed in silence, and the leader nodded in respect as Kavi escaped. On his return journey, Kavi faced storms and landslides, obstacles that seemed conjured by dark forces, testing his endurance. But the jewel's warmth guided him, and the memory of his people's suffering fueled his steps. When Kavi finally returned to Bhavani, he was greeted by silence. The villagers had lost nearly all hope. But as he held up the Pranav jewel, chanting a prayer of life to the gods, the skies split open. Rain poured down, and the parched earth drank deeply. The river surged back to life, filling the village with shouts of joy and awe. Leela ran to him, her face streaked with tears, and he held her close, his strength all but gone. The people of Bhavani celebrated Kavi as their savior, but he gave all credit to the gods and to Leela's unwavering faith. From that day on, his tale was told as a legend, a reminder that love, faith, and courage could conquer even the darkest trials. And every year, they honored him by casting offerings into the river, so it would never run dry again. Thank you for joining us on this epic journey into the heart of ancient India, where love, faith, and courage triumphed over darkness. If you were as captivated as we were by Kavi and Leela's undying devotion and the trials they faced, we'd love to hear your thoughts. Would you have dared to retrieve the Pranav jewel? Do you think the gods truly choose the humblest among us to do the bravest deeds? Let us know in the comments below. And if you haven't yet, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss a new tale from Folktales of Many Tribes. We bring you legends, myths, and stories from across cultures and lands, keeping the spirit of folklore alive. Until next time, stay curious, stay brave, and remember, the greatest strength often comes from the humblest heart. Thanks for watching.